the meeting to order of the Sweetwater, the Board of Directors of the Sweetwater Enterprise for Economic Development, Medicinal Development District of Sweetwater, Texas. It's Monday, June 14th, 10 a.m. We'll open with a prayer. Mr. Becker, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the rains that you've sent this year. We appreciate it so much. Thank you for the opportunity you give us. Thank you for this community of Sweetwater and the leaders that are moving it forward. Remind us that it's our job to take care of those around us. It's our job to make a better place for people to live. And it's our job to follow you in all you do. We pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you. We'll move to item number 3, which is public comments and receipt of petitions. Are there any public comments at this time?
No.
Thank you. So if it's all right, we're going to go ahead and move to item number 7, our closed session, which will we'll need to entertain a motion to enter into executive session under section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code.
Ma'am, if I might ask that we go ahead and do part of our regular meeting. One of our other clients is supposed to be here and
That's
running
what you
late.
meant. I apologize
No, that's-
again. Oh, so, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't understand. Okay, my
They
mistake.
got caught in the storm
Yeah.
coming from Snyder. So
Okay, so we're going to go into
Has everybody seen the?
Yeah.
Russ?
just
Yes.
one time. Okay, all right, I misunderstood. Okay, so we'll go to action 4A, board to review and consider approving the minutes of the May 10th, 2021 meeting.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the minutes be approved. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Action item 4B, board to review and consider approving payment of accounts payable.
Question.
Yes, sir.
The newspaper charged us $600 for a public service announcement. Is that customary?
Yes,
So it's not an advertisement, or it is an advertisement in their eyes, not
Doesn't
a
have to run
public
for
service
2 weeks or
announcement.
something?
2 days.
2 days. Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of
Good question.
words in it that needed to be there to cover all our legal side.
Thank you.
Yes.
I move we approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the accounts payable are approved. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried. Action item 4C, board to review and consider approving the April 2021 financial statements.
Okay, if you'll turn to page 4, you'll see our balance sheet. You go all the way down to the bottom. There's really nothing to point out up above. I do want to point out that we are 32.97% in sales tax over what we were, we had received in May of 2020. And so that's a pretty exciting number right there
Yeah, it's a good number.
compared to last month when we were kind of negative. If you'll turn to page 5, you'll see our statement of revenues and expenditures. Just want to point out a couple of things. I know I kind of point these out repetitively. I just want to remind y'all. If you scroll down, if you'll stop at the insurance and bonding expenditure, we were unaware at the time that we made the budget that our general director's liability had increased $53 and our TML and workers' comp had increased $56 from last year. And so for this year's budget, we'll go out for bid on the liability insurance for the directors.
Any particular reasons, Nisha?
Not that we know, not that we're aware of. On our dues and subscriptions, we pay a lot of those at the beginning of the year and they're for the year. And so they kind of even out as the year goes on. The same with the administration fee. The rental and equipment, that one will be a little off because of the insurance that we had to purchase through our the finance company that we lease our coffee machine through. They made it mandatory that we purchase insurance through them. So we weren't aware of that when we created the budget. And then I just wanted to kind of point out on that incentives line item, if you look at our year-to-date budget to our year-to-date actual, we're sitting $97,000 below what is budgeted for this month compared to what has been today. So that's a good position to be in. You'll turn to page 6. take a second to look over that. I also have, on the next page, the 5-year thing, and I want to point out a few things on that. If you look down, we're still, nothing really has come off in the month of April. We'll turn to page 7. As you go down, I do want to point out that Paydex has completed 41 of their 80 apartment units. The 31st through the 60th is the payback of their initial 30,000. So on their incentive reimbursement, we take 1,000 for each unit they complete. On the most recent check that y'all saw in here, they got an extra $11,000 for an exterior incentive. They get that every 20 units they complete. On the facade improvement grant, last month we kind of talked about Taqueria Rodriguez, and that one expired. We've tried to contact her, have not heard anything back. She's reached out to Joanna downstairs in the chamber and asked what she could do, and we've told her that she can reapply in 90 days. But she has not personally contacted me back or anything. So we kind of had to let that one go. So on the facades, the only one outstanding is heart bending, the line walls down on East Broadway. The demolition at 605 West Broadway, the structure has been removed, the foundation's still there, and the fence has been taken down to the same level all the way across. And so I think that one's still in progress. We haven't received a bill or anything, and their quote did say that they would remove the foundation. So.
And that was the one that neighbors, Gil Cherry's property, and Gil worked with the successful bidder to work on a project, get that done. So it looks really nice the way they completed that.
And I just want to thank Carolyn for making me do this sheet, because it really kind of makes me sit down right before our meeting and go over what all we have outstanding and where we are on all of our projects. And this is as of Friday, June 11th, so it's a lot more current than our other financial statements are. If we'll turn to page 8 and look over in the column 2021, of course, you'll see the month that we're up the 32.97%, but you'll also see the sales tax collected for June. We're up another 1.75% over last year, and I believe David said the city was up 12%
Yes,
on that same month.
yes.
So it's better than seeing those negative numbers. Then if you will turn to page 9, our local unemployment for our 9-county region on April 2021. Everyone's in the 9-county region has decreased. Most have decreased almost a whole %. You'll see that Mitchell and Sterling are kind of laggers, but Texas as a whole has decreased 1%. The United States has decreased 0.5%. So we're doing good in those unemployment numbers. And unless there are questions.
Well, on our rental payment to the chamber, we did increase that. Have we backed that back down, or?
Yes, we are, unless this board tells us otherwise, we have increased it.
Okay.
And when we did that, and Neil had to close that as a continuous increase moving forward.
Okay. All right, thank you.
2,200, is that what we're paying?
It's
2,000.
2,000, okay.
Misha or anyone, I can't remember. We talked a little bit about 2 months ago, the tax revenue being significantly off. We kind of spitballed the reasons behind that. Have we found out any more details as to what caused that decline?
No, and of course, you know, we had the freeze, which made a lot of people unable to travel and get out on the roads productively. And David, unless you've heard of anything, why our, I guess the sales tax collected for the month of April, which would have been actually February, unless we know
So the deep freeze event definitely could have had effect.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, February is a short month. So it was only about 3 weeks of sales tax collected.
Thank
Any other questions?
Move approval of financial report.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the financial statements for April 2021. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. We'll move to item 5A, Marketing Director's Report, please.
Okay. I do want to point out that we do have a couple of board member terms that are expiring. Jared and Russ. Russ, your first 2-year term is coming to an end.
2 years already.
I know. And then Jared, your well, I guess second term in the MDD is coming to an end. And
And is it 4?
you can serve 4 consecutive terms.
Okay.
The way y'all did it, I believe, whenever the MDD started, is you served 1 year.
Yep.
So it wouldn't kick everyone off
Right.
the board at the same time. So if y'all are willing to serve, we'd like to recommend to the council that you'll be reappointed.
Sure.
Are
I'm
you
gonna,
gonna let us know?
nothing personal, I'm probably gonna be out of here. I've had 2 terms here on the MDD board, but I had
Yes.
a fairly prolonged tenure on the original seed. And I think it's probably time to turn the seat over. And so we'll start asking people who's a good candidate. All right,
Okay.
any suggestions, please pass them on to me.
I also wanted to update Carolyn, Gil, and Joseph. Y'all started y'all's I guess, second. Let's say that right.
Second year.
Or your second year in your first term, or is that correct? No, your second year of your second term will expire on 10/22. So y'all will still have 2 more terms that you can serve after that.
Are there anything we need to consider in the bylaws as it relates to forming committees, solicitation of the next member, as Dr. Pete has indicated?
I don't believe there's anything that states anything about committees, but if y'all are willing to look at that.
In the past, when the city council makes that call, and they normally will ask us if we have any names to move forward. And then I think your council members also will bring names to the table. Sure.
Okay. Ken and I recently attended a Texas Economic Development Council meeting in Frisco. It was their mid-year conference, and it was my first one to be present at. And I'll say that I really enjoyed it, meeting a lot of people. It is the statewide organization for economic development. And they talked about a lot of workforce issues. They had different discussion forums and speakers that talked over some workforce issues and the issues that all communities across Texas are facing with the skill sets needed for the workforce that's out there. They talked a lot about, or there was a really interesting one over the Texas Enterprise Fund, which is the incentive that the governor's office will offer. Just kind of talked about guidelines and what you have to be as far as like a community our size, the guidelines you have to meet to apply for that fund, and how local economic developers play a role in that. There was also a few over the changing role of economic development, and it really talked a lot about what this board's goal has been as far as quality of life, and not just the typical economic development, but how we need to support that industrial development of our quality of life, our housing, our retail, and everything else.
No, you can't.
You can't close it.
No.
It's an open meeting.
But I did.
Sorry.
But I was able to meet a lot of people. I've of course, I've met the people from Abilene in the past, but I really spent a lot of time with them. From Lubbock, I actually have a mentor through the TEDC, and she's out of Lubbock. And just kind of expanding my network and people that I can reach out to and ask, advice from, and what their communities have done for various projects and dilemmas that they might face, things like that. So I really enjoyed the experience, and I appreciate y'all letting me attend that conference. Georgia Pacific, we did have a groundbreaking. I have a couple of pictures, but I didn't want to overload the pictures on here, and it's out of order. Of course, Ken and I attended, and we were actually able to assist them with receiving a letter from the governor, just kind of stating their success or wishing them well, and nice little kind of branded letter that Senator Perry read at the event, and just kind of wishing them well and thanking them for choosing Sweetwater. One of the comments that was made during the groundbreaking, they stated a reason as to why they chose Sweetwater, and it was a reason that we haven't heard yet, and it was because their turnover rate here was lower than in any of their other locations, or most of their other locations. So that was a good thing to hear. So you'll see up here all the main people that were doing the groundbreaking, and they had a really nice tent set up and provided us lunch. Oops. That's the only picture I have. Just kind of wanted to show you all more. I've never really been to a groundbreaking like that, so it is nice. It's a nice experience and very well put together. And we did provide them gift bags and a few little special things that spoke about Sweetwaters and rattlesnake rattlers.
I was going to ask if we're still doing rattlesnake.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. One of the guys came up to me and said, "Now I was promised a stuffed rattlesnake." So we'll be sending that to him and everything. But it was a really nice event. Glad we got to be a part of it.
Well, a couple of other things that we included in their gift bag, one was a pin from the WASP reunion, but we also had those wood pins that were made here in Sweetwater with lumber from Nolan County. And they thought that was a pretty nice thing. Of course, we're gonna get some more of those. Those are really nice gifts for people from out of town, especially.
That's all I really have for my report.
Thank you, Misha. Thank you. Mr. Becker?
Tying to what she talked about, we'll give you an update, and I think the city council, I believe, addressed this at their meeting. The water line bids did come in and got 5 bids varying from $1.8 million to $3.4 million. I believe it the 1.9 million that is going to be recommended, I think, is because it's a customer that they worked with us before in the past. So I think we're all pretty excited that came in a lesser number than what it could have. Even Sage thought that was a number that was lower than what he was expecting because of the price of pipe and the price of everything else that's been going on. So
What's the name of the company?
I'll find it while you.
here I've got it. It's BlackRock Construction. No, is it BlackRock or Fambro? Do you remember, David?
I want to say it's BlackRock.
BlackRock is, yeah, BlackRock's 1.9. Fambro was the other one, was just a hair under that, but BlackRock is a company they worked with before. And then we'll have a border retreat coming up. I wanted to see if you wanted to run it like we kind of have in the past at our next meeting, which would be July 12th. We normally do that in conjunction with the regular meeting and then go right into a retreat. And you don't have to let me know that right at this moment. We'll follow up and we'll follow up with a date on that. But it would be the same second Monday that we normally have. And we'll work on a location got some topics. Of course, there's a lot of topics to talk about to kind of narrow it down from, demo to housing, retail, parks, workforce, economic development, small business, connectivity, and Texas Communities Group. A small business is one of the things we'd really like to revisit because, this is something Gil's always been really a proponent of pushing. And what we found is that this year we've actually had quite a few small businesses come up and talk to us, where in the past we never had a lot like that. So I think we need to at least take a look at how can we better serve them going forward. The connectivity part, we've talked about this a little bit, and I'm working on trying to put together a community-wide meeting as the pandemic hit. I think our connectivity or their lack of in rural Texas has been a bigger issue. And so we're trying to see how, as a community or the county, we do a better job of trying to better connect. If you think about people wanting to leave a metroplex and come out and work from home, they have to have really fast internet to be able to do that. And if you look at the maps, I think I've sent you guys before, but we'll have more of them later. Inside city limits, we do okay. We're not great, but we do okay. But outside city limits, we don't do very well at all. And I think we have to do a better job at that if we're going to make a connection with those people that want to come out here and live and have all the other things the big city has. If we choose not to, that's a different angle, but I think we at least need to take some time and look at that and see what the ramifications might be for that. Because I think we're missing a big piece if we choose not to try to at least address that. And it will take quite a while. The state's already addressing it, the federal governor is already addressing it. And in fact, we missed one opportunity because we didn't have a local committee. So we're trying to get that local committee that will allow us and open us up to do some other stuff. Fraley basketball court. Also got Dana. We talked about that 2 or 3 months ago, I think, and it was the assistant coach for basketball. What's his name again? Evan Grantham. Well, he is now the head basketball coach at Sweetwater High School. He just got promoted to that position. Misha and I and Dana and Evan had a meeting last week in our office of looking about how could we do a better job of improving the basketball court at Fraley Park. And Evan is one of the people that's really pushed on that. He likes the idea of making a court available for kids, dressing it up some to really kind of get people excited about basketball, wants to do some tournaments there and things like that. So you have a picture we can kind of show a little bit of Fraley. Number 6 there. Top right hand corner, and then that one on the bottom. Yeah, lightning this morning has kind of created havoc on a lot of the electronics. That's good enough. There you go. Then you might talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about what we talked about, what your thoughts are.
I think we got as we discussed, and I think it's been a couple months, really starting to get into it. Pretty excited about, I think, what we can do at Fraley Park, given that Evan and Ken and Misha, we actually, Ken and I went out there, maybe a month and a half ago and looked at it. And I knew then that there was some interest, and our master plan also calls for an improvement to the existing basketball court. Right now, we have one basketball court right next to a tennis court. And the thought was to remove the tennis court and add a basketball court. But in addition to that, really improve that area where we would have new surfacing, brand new surfacing, good maintenance, free surfacing on the deck there, new basketball, just everything, rims, backboards, the whole thing, and then create a site plan for access. Right now, we want better access from the parking area to the site, so you don't walk across the basketball court to get to the other side. You want to have a nice accessible site, and then build it also to down the line, if it's important, to provide a possible cover for that area too. You know, with the weather that we have, you know, with the sun and the heat, covers a nice little feature. That wouldn't be considered necessarily right now, but it could be a phase 2. And then to provide some side covers there are areas that get out of the sun. And the thought is that we would have a lot of kids that would go there. We would surface it with some really neat design. Could be a Mustang, could be, you know, certainly Sweetwater representative because it's in Sweetwater, but we're very colorful to bring kids there. I think the idea is that we want to use Rayleigh Park a little bit more than we do. And I think with this type of improvement, and as it's called for in the master plan, will allow us to do that. It's I think a neat thing that we can do for our youth here and for the community and for Evan as he's building his basketball program at Sweetwater. This will provide another avenue to enhance that program. And he's given us a lot of information. He is definitely really supportive, and he can do a lot of work for us as it would relate to this, get us what ideas will work. You know, what are kids looking for? Well, he'll know because he's working with the kids through the basketball coaching. So we would rely on his kind of expertise there. But the city would manage a project if the board so would like to move forward with this from an engineering standpoint. We, in talking to the city manager the other day, we believe that we have Jacob Martin already on board to provide for some type of engineering as they did for this splash pad. And then we would go and manage the process of bringing it to you for your consideration of the project itself, probably on a preliminary basis and then on a more detailed basis to make sure that we're meeting the needs that you see as part of this community, and that any questions you may have that would better this product moving forward. And we would just manage the process that we managed before with the spray park, and probably taking a little bit what we learned from that project and improve what we'll do on this project, working together. I think a lot of questions on that first project came up and were answered, and so some of those won't come up again, but there will be others. And I think we've worked together to get through that project. We want a project that works well for the community, works well for the board, works well for the city on a maintenance standpoint, and has a lot of activity. And I think that's what we're shooting for. So, Ken, I probably missed a few things.
No, I think we're in good. And again, all we're doing is just kind of keeping you informed of the steps. We'll be getting more information, and probably over the next 30 to 90 days, we're bringing it back additional information to take a look at what those costs might be, and also looking at the possibility of upgrading and extending the track in Newman Park as another piece of the quality of life.
Are we looking at covers at all for the playground equipment or new playground equipment at
The new-
Newman?
There is new.
I know,
I mean, we don't have new playground equipment. in
I
Newman.
know.
Oh.
I thought that was our priority. It's playground equipment at Newman and covers for the playground equipment at Newman and that type of thing. We're not looking at that though much.
Not at this point,
Okay.
unless we're directed to.
Okay. I didn't know the basketball thing was back on the table.
Yeah, we talked about that 60 days ago, I think, at the meeting, just asking if you wanted us to move forward with it, and we were given permission to go to the next step. So.
Okay.
Then final kind of economic update is a few different things. Oil and gas, West Texas Intermediate's up at 71.66 as of this morning. Jobs are pretty crucial. Concerns of hiring enough people. Even at the Frisco meeting last week at the TEDC, a lot of discussions was about that. people not willing to leave home because they're getting paid more than they would be going to work. We know that the governor is going to end that at the end of June in Texas. The extra $300 a month, I think, that the federal government pays. But we'll see how that does. Addressing the labor pool, actually tomorrow, our Manufacturing Alliance and Sweetwater Independent School District will be having our second meeting to start talking about what kind of programs can be put into the high school to help on the labor pool side. Chapter 313 is something that our community has used tremendously. We use it, of course, on the GP project. The school districts use it a lot. Right now, if it doesn't get reauthorized, and it has not been, so at the end of next year, December 31st of 2022, it will go away. And we do think that that will hurt our community. Every wind project, every large expansion that we've had, 313 was a tax limitation deal, just like the county could do tax abatement. That just took that away from us. So we kind of fought to try to keep that. And Senator Perry said he's going to try to bring it back up because it is important to get back. Then House Bill 1554 was the MDD bill. It ended up passing. It changed dramatically from when we first started on it. When it left the House, it included the whole county. The Senate version would not accept it as the whole county and only included the ETJ, which we already have. So it doesn't affect us one way or the other, but it does make it easier for other MDDs in the state of Texas to be able to expand that out to the MDD without going through another election. And then what we hope is that down the line, since they're willing to move that one, that we can move it back to the county side, which gives us the right thing to do what a type A did, doing the project in the county by just asking the county for permission. And I think that's all I've got on my.
Ken, would you mention GP's generous gift?
Oh, I'm sorry. Good point. I didn't even think about that because it was such a shock to GP did donate $200,000 to Sweetwater Independent School District. So you think about recently in Ludlam's, with them being here, have been involved in all our stuff for 30, 40 years. We're starting to see some, GP did the 200,000, Boozy did 100,000 6 months ago. They did what, 75,000 in the hospital,
Yeah.
and then another 25,000 to was it the shop?
I think so.
I think the shop.
But the ISD will be using it to kind of work on their workforce type CTE programs and things like that to help upskill the labor force.
Really good.
Yes.
Ken, do you think that, I think the unemployment benefit that Texas is paying it is $300 a week. And
Is
that's,
it? Yeah, I think you're
it's
right.
gonna end
No, I
June the
think you're-
26th. I
Yes.
mean, from what you can tell, does that look like that's gonna be a, welcome.
Good morning. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that's gonna help? our
I think all the employers think it will, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Because when you think another $1,200 a month that's not going to go into their pockets, they're going to have to do something. And
Sure,
back to the
so.
oil and gas, a lot of the articles I'm reading, we hear about the new politics and the new green deals and all that stuff. Everything I've come across said that they're thinking that at least the next 10 years will be really strong in the oil and gas industry still, because we're still going to need all that energy to do most of the things we do. And so I think those are things we'll have to monitor as time goes forward to see what kind of impact that may have on us long term.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's a great report. Thank you. Okay, you ready to move on?
I think so.
Okay, so we will consider entering into executive session under section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code. Do I hear a motion to?
So
do that?
moved.
All right,
Second.
thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we move into closed executive session under the section 551.087. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. So we are in executive session. Thank you, Ken.
Yes.
Hang on just a second.